You asked me about rejection transforming into wisdom. Oh boy. The long story, where did it begin? Well, let's go back, way back. When I was a child, as I said, I knew I was very different. First of all, I was very fascinated with this, going way back. Something about clear plastic covering beautiful, colorful clothing. The clear plastic slipcover, the boy wearing the raincoat, and the clear plastic shrouds over the beautiful clothing coming back from cleaning. I hid it from everyone. I did not tell anyone about this, except for maybe one or two people, until I came to San Francisco. I figure that they've accepted leather, drag, fur, bondage, blue jeans, tight t-shirts, torn clothing, everything. I figure, okay, can I be part of this rainbow? So I made some very crude clear plastic clothing using shower curtains and glue, since I did not do sewing at the time. And I started to wear them out on the town, at night on the town, like this one here, figuring I would be welcome into that rainbow. I wasn't. I was soundly rejected. I was kicked out of 2 gay bathhouses, for one thing. And I felt very unwelcome at a few gay bars. And I even felt unwelcome on the streets, here in San Francisco. At this time, I did not yet fully be in love with Arthur. I knew him, yes, from MCC. But we have not fully fallen in love yet, so I was still on my own as far as this was concerned. There was something else that happened that really punched this further in my stomach. I made a clear plastic motorcycle-style jacket for a friend of mine who lived in Houston. He was into leather and clear plastic. And he wanted the jacket because he wanted to wear it over his black leather clothing, which of course were the requisite uniform for a gay leather bar, okay? And he went to the bar wearing his full black leather, not the colors that I wear, but black leather. And he got kicked out. He got kicked out of his favorite gay bar because he was wearing a clear plastic jacket that, by the way, only went down to about here. Not a full-length dress like this is. So what's going on here? I was angry. I felt left out. I felt all alone. Then, out of desperation, I decided to kind of step back. And as the saying goes, let's look at the forest, not the individual trees. I know I love you, and you smell nice, but let's look at the forest and see really what's going on, holistically. The people who rejected me at those 2 gay bathhouses, and the people who rejected my friend at the leather bar, probably themselves have been rejected all along. From their families, from their schools, from their communities, probably from their sports teams, from everyone of their lives until one point when they were found out. And now they come to the refuge with some baggage, anger, rejection, desperation. And like anyone who could be angry and lose control, they take it out on an innocent person or object. Look at yourself when you get angry at a problem at work. Most likely you would slam the desk in front of you with your fist. Well, in a way, I was that desk. Well, I did find acceptance in one very, very marginalized part of our community. And that was the hustlers. The hustlers on Polk Street in San Francisco. And by the way, the Polk Street area was the very first gay neighborhood before the Castro came into vogue. The Castro was the place to be if you were gay, only if you could afford it. And I could not afford it. So I lived on Polk Street along with the hustlers, the gay youth who were either thrown out or ran away from very abusive homes to come to this refuge, only to find out that they had to sell their bodies to survive. They like these because they can wear them on a cold, rainy night to keep warm, yet let their beauty shine through so they can sell their bodies. That's why they like these. But I had to reach out to them in compassion and sympathy. I could not afford to ridicule them because I was ridiculed myself. I had to stop that. Like, don't do unto others as others felt they had to do unto you. Let it stop with you and show compassion to those who are more marginalized than you were. I tried to do that. And I realized that yes, it is anger being passed down through the ranks of this community. There's a very interesting story that much later on in my life, I did find full acceptance. It was with a group called the Radical Fairies. I need to mention a wonderful man, a very wise man, by the name of Harry Hay. Harry Hay, along with another man by the name of Frank Kemeny, formed what's called the Mattachine Society back in the 1950s and early 1960s, long before the Stonewall riots, which brought the gay movement out into the world. You see, in the 1950s, our dear friend, or our enemy, we'll call him, Dwight Eisenhower, signed Executive Order 10450. Challenge you look that up on Wikipedia online. It was an executive order mandating that all federal agencies terminate employees who are sexual deviants. People like us were required to be terminated from employment with the federal government. Harry Hay, Frank Kemeny, and other activists realized there has to be a gay support organization for social as well as political support to fight this purge that was going on. Harry Hay was also a communist. He joined the Communist Party. Because he was a homosexual, he got kicked out of the Communist Party. And because he was a communist, he was kicked out of the Mattachine Society, which he had formed. So he had rejection coming from all around him. But he became quite wise, very, very sensitive, and had lots of wisdom. He knew, he recognized right away that after Stonewall, after we became more liberated, we in the gay community started to impose a very strict hierarchy upon ourselves, a pecking order, at the top of which are the young, cute, husky men with tight blue jeans and tight t-shirts called the Castro clones. They were the top. Next in line were the leather queens, wearing tight leather. And then the young, cute men in their business suits and their sleek clothing. Then average men. At the very bottom were the colorful flame queens, like myself, including the very few clear plastic queens. And yes, there are a few others in this universe. Harry Hay recognized that this is toxic and really has no bearing in the gay community. There has to be a sanctuary for those who could not or would not conform to this very toxic form of conformity. He convened several wise men and sought help from the spirits during a spiritual gathering deep in the mountains of New Mexico, far from everyone. And the answer they got from the spirits is to find an organization, to create an organization called the Radical Fairies. I belong to them. We provide a sanctuary, both physically as well as emotionally and as well as mentally, to create a space for us to be our true selves, not to be forced into an expectation imposed upon us by others who don't really care about us. We recognize that each one of you and you, everyone, is a unique color. A color, one of millions of colors of this great rainbow of creation. And the colors of all of you, as they come together, form a great white light. A basic law of physics, as well as a basic law of metaphysics and spirituality. This great white light that is of us is, of course, a beacon that is our duty to let shine from on high, high as the stars and the galaxies, to beckon all, to call all of you out there who are lost, wandering, lonely, and afraid, and fear, that yes, there's a home. Come ye, come all, come into this home, come into this light, for you are part of this light, no less than the stars and the galaxies and the trees and the oceans and the valleys and the beautiful clouds and the blue sky and the wonderful sunsets. We're all part of this rainbow of beauty, this rainbow called love, compassion, peace. Us. For it is us who love you because you are part of us. Thank you. I love you all. And of course, if you see me out and about, day or night, in my colors, my lights, my clear plastic, or my colored clothing, please shout and say hi, and we'll have a chat. But of course, may I please remind you that during this whole episode of COVID-19, please stay at least 10 to 15 feet apart physically, but of course spiritually. Come into you, come into me, and I reciprocate by coming into you.